Hello. Well, today's plant is Greater Stitchwort. It's a plant which you'll find in woodlands, but particularly on road verges actually. It's very common as you drive along. You'll see beautiful white, tall white flowers growing on the road verge, and that's almost certainly going to be Greater Stitchwort. Stitchwort, as its name implies, means that it's good for pain. The stitch was a word the Anglo-Saxons used for any sharp pain, and stitchwort was supposed to be good for that. Its Latin name is Stellaria holostea. Stellaria, I guess, because the flowers are star-like, and holostea is a bit of a mistake actually. It means it's used for setting bones. It was some French botanist in the 17th century mistook it for something else and gave it a really rather bad Latin name, and now we're actually stuck with it. So the name is a mistake. Wildflowers, it's a member of the campion family, so usually 5 petals, usually notched. These are notched about halfway down to the base. Usually 5 sepals, but not always, and the number of stamens is always double the number of sepals. So if you have one of the campion family which only has 4 sepals, it's going to have 8 stamens. This one will have 10 because it has 5 sepals. The leaves are long and pointed in this plant. Once again, they're not always like that. They're long and pointed, and they're opposite. And not only are they opposite, but they are 90 degrees out of phase as you go up the plant. So the first set will be here, and then the next set there and there. So they bear, again, look rather like a star. Perhaps that's where the plant gets its name from. And the plants have a really curious character, which does occur in quite a lot of plants, but in particular in this one, it flowers from the top down. The flowers are in what we call a cyme, which is a arching stem with flowers coming off it. In this case, the cyme has a V shape with a stem up in the centre and a flower on top. And that top one always flowers first and then the side ones. So it's flowering from the top down instead of from the bottom up, which is what you might expect most plants to do. So it's a spring plant. It's a lovely white covering of the woodland floor or road verges. This is Greater Stitchwort. Now you may wonder why I haven't got a Greater Stitchwort in my hand and why I'm not using my trusty hand lens, and I have to tell you that this is a protected plant, not protected by the government, but protected, it is believed, by elves. Traditionally, if you picked this, you were going to be in serious trouble with the elves, or if you lived in Cornwall, with the pixies, and life was not going to be much fun. I mean, if you're a follower of the Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien, you will know that elves can be really odd things. So I'm not even going to touch this plant because I don't want to fall out with the elves. So Greater Stitchwort, Stellaria holostea.